you advise to multi-million-dollar companies and government and all sorts of people. How are you influencing change?
I think that one of the main things I do is I try to demystify what sustainability is and why they should do it. So a lot of companies will say, well, I don't even know what sustainability is.
Yeah. It's just a buzzword, isn't it?
Yeah,
I kind of know what it is, but I sort of don't know what it is.
Exactly. It's a concept, but we can't grasp it.
Yeah.
Or they might say, I don't know what sustainability would look like for my business. So I help them work that out. And then they need to work out, well, where are we in relation to that?
Yeah.
And then we work out, well, what will we do to get you from where you are to what sustainability might look like.
So what sorts of things can businesses do with no upfront cost that will help their sustainability over time?
Get data. They basically, this is where the accountants come in. I've been writing blogs for years and years and years, and you know the title of my most searched for blog? Why Accountants Are the New Cool.
What? Accountants aren't cool. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Goodness knows what they're Googling, but that's the one they find. So in your business, you've got a gold mine of data about how your business operates. And until you really understand what that business is telling about how you relate to the environment, you don't understand your business. So how can you run it well?
Because actually, doesn't the data show that companies who embrace environmental stuff and sustainability and all of that are doing better than other businesses?
Yes.
Explain that to me.
Way back, I think in 1990, I read an article about the Fortune 500 companies in America. This is the most brilliant companies in America that make the most money. And someone said, well, that's great, we've got the top 500. What makes the top of the top better than the bottom of the top? And they had a look. And what they found was the ones at the bottom ranking, even though they were still America's biggest companies, and listed on the stock exchange, they would be more likely to be polluters. They'd be more likely to have really bad staff relations and lots of employment grievances. They would have customer complaints. They would have quality problems. They just basically weren't being managed very well. So at the top of the tree, you've got the companies that are good at everything. And so if you wanted to measure the quality of a company's management, you'd need to do a PhD on that. Well, no one can afford that. But if you just look at their environmental indicators, it's a brilliant, simple way of finding out how well that company's actually run.
Wow. So actually, if you're running a business, look at your environmental stuff, data, to understand how well you're doing.
Absolutely.
And how does this relate? I mean, I know you work with big companies as well as smaller ones, but how does this relate to, just a little SME? Small business, of which obviously we have a lot in New Zealand.
We do. I think 90% of New Zealand companies are 10 people or fewer.
Yeah.
And most of them around 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So it's mum and dad doing the GST on the kitchen table kind of company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how does sustainability relate to them?
Well, I was just talking with a small company. It was just a coffee table kind of a talk, and they were trying to work out what they do. So basically they've got sort of 1.5 staff, but they run lots of classes, so they've got people coming and going all the time.
Yeah.
So we looked at, well, they're pretty good with turning out the lights. That's a biggie.
Yeah.
They already had recycling in the kitchen. That's a biggie. So I said, well, what about your biscuits and your tea? So this is a not-for-profit group who want to do good in the world. So I said, well, are your biscuits fair trade? Is your coffee fair trade? So even a simple change like that can make people feel, oh yeah, we're trying to do good. Let's do business with other companies that are trying to do good.
Yeah.
And that you can make your purchasing choices like that.
Yeah. Now you've got a book, which I love the title of, How to Change the World. Tell me what's in the book. I'm going to read it, obviously, but tell me.
Cover to cover, Cath.
Yeah. You bet. Bedtime tonight.
I guess the short answer is, one of the case studies in that book is about a company who were running into real trouble with the environment. And they had to roll out environmental training. They were very reluctant. But they did it, and they did it very well. 4 years later, their turnover had tripled.
Wow. Just from doing environmental
From rolling out environmental training throughout the whole company. And the CEO couldn't understand where it came from.
Yeah.
But I knew. It's that Fortune 500 stuff.
Right.
You can't make that kind of a change in a company without involving every single person. So the book is about how to set up a successful environmental training program.
Wow, fantastic.
And I've got a whole model about it based on my experience. And at the heart of it is partnership. You have to work with everyone. So I've worked with groups of people where some of the people at the table could put other people at the table in jail, literally, for environmental offences.
Ooh.
And they've developed a training program that has lasted 20 years and is still going incredibly well.
Wow. Well, it sounds like
Partnership.
there's something in there for everybody, whether you're a big company or a small company. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And for us as individuals, of course.
Yes.
And just a message to my daughter, please turn out your lights. Claire said so. Thank you, honey. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Kate. What a pleasure.